Malaysia is home to many strong women. Michelle Yeoh, who is the first Asian woman to win an Oscar. Siti Nurhaliza, who remains the undisputed queen of pop in Malaysia. Anita Yusof, who travelled the world alone on a motorcycle. And the list goes on. But for this tale, we're talking about a woman who stared in the face of death. A patriot who refused to back down even after she and her family were tortured. The only Malaysian woman to ever receive the George Medal for Bravery, Sybil Kathigasu. If you like long forgotten or hidden local tales like the tale of Sybil Kathigasu and want more, please consider supporting us by subscribing and following us. Thank you, and now back to the tale. Sybil Medan Dali was born to an Irish Eurasian father and a French Eurasian mother on the 3rd of September 1899 in Medan, Sumatra, and was later raised in Malaya. At the age of 21, Sybil sought nursing and midwife training from the then province of Singapura, following the footsteps of her mother. Sybil was fluent in the Chinese language dialect of Cantonese, a skill that she would later come to use during her future as a freedom fighter of Malaya. When Sybil was practicing in Kuala Lumpur General Hospital, she met Dr. Arumugam Kanapathi Pillai and they quickly fell in love. Dr. Arumugam was a second-generation Malaysian born in Taiping, Perak, whose parents were immigrants from Sri Lanka. However, Sybil's parents objected to their relationship due to religious differences. But after negotiation, Dr. Arumugam converted to Catholicism and was renamed as Dr. Abden Clement Kathigasu. They later married on the 7th of January 1919 at St. John's Church, now Cathedral, at Bukit Nanas, Kuala Lumpur, and thus she became Sybil Medan Kathigasu. However, happiness could only last for so long. Their first child, Michael, passed away just 19 hours from birth. To recover from the loss of their firstborn, the new couple adopted a boy named William Pillai. Things went well from here, with them even having two more biological daughters of their own, Olga and Dawn. But even though they started a new family of their own, the death of Michael had impacted Sybil so significantly that when it comes to people she loved, protecting them became #1 priority, such that surrender is never an option. This is what we call foreshadowing. Dr. Abden then had to move back to Ipoh, where Sybil and him started a clinic at house number 141 Brewster Road, now referred to as Jalan Sultan Idris Shah. Due to Sybil's fluency in Cantonese as well as a warm personality, Sybil and her family quickly found themselves welcomed by the locals and continued running the clinic up until December 1941. The days the Japanese army officially landed in Malaya. And this is where the story takes a turn for the worse. It's World War II, and the Japanese now occupying Malaya using their air and naval superiority during the Malayan campaign, or what they called the Malay Operation. They had established the Kempai Tay in Ipoh, a military police corps that acted more like a secret police, stomping anti-Japanese sentiments through torture or death. During one of the Japanese bombing runs on Ipoh, Dr. Abden received a stray shrapnel injury on his right leg. Fearing for the worst as the air raid continued, Sybil and her husband fled to the small town of Papan, Perak, where she and her family hunkered down with a family friend, Mr. Ratnam, who offered half of the ground floor of his house to her family, the now famous number 74 in Papan, Perak, which you can go visit, by the way. It's a really nice historical town. On the 1st of August 1943, Sybil and her family were arrested under suspicion of aiding the resistance. It turns out that informants had told on her and her family for helping the resistance fighters. The Kempai Tay, who were led by Sergeant Yoshimura Eiko, immediately arrested and brutally tortured the family to give up any information regarding the resistance. One of the torture methods involved the infamous Tokyo wine treatment, where massive amounts of water were force-fed and the torturers would then step on their bloated stomachs, causing all sorts of damage. Dr. Abil Kathigasu eventually broke down to the torture, leading to him being imprisoned in Batu Gajah jail. To the point that Sergeant Yoshimura of the Kempete got so frustrated, he hung Sybil's youngest daughter, Dawn, from a tree and then set the fire ablaze beneath her. Sybil was then tied to a pole and forced to walk as her daughter dangles mere centimeters from being burnt alive. And let me emphasize this, Dawn was only around 6 to 7 years old when this happened. But even then, Dawn was filled with a tungsten will. She shouted to her mother, stating, "Be very brave, mummy. Do not tell." Sybil bit her lip and dared Yoshimura to cut the rope, that they would rather die than give up on those who depended on them, those who fought back, the resistance, the community, friends, neighbor, their people, those Sybil and her family helped protect all these years. She wasn't going to give up. Yoshimura then gave the order to cut the rope. As the rope was in the process of being cut, another Japanese officer called it off. Dawn was then sent away and Sybil was sentenced to life imprisonment in Batu Gajah jail. In August 1945, 2 atomic bombs brought the end to World War II, and along with it, the Japanese occupation of Malaya. In September, the British regained control of Malaya and Sybil was freed, but she had sustained too many injuries from her torture and imprisonment and was immediately sent to London to receive treatment. Though Sybil could try and rest easy physically, mentally, she needed to continue to be strong. Sergeant Yoshimura, the man who tortured her and her family, was being charged. She was unable to physically attend to give her testimony, so she wrote an affidavit detailing the events that she and her family were put through. Sergeant Yoshimura was then sentenced to death by hanging on 24th May 1946 in Taiping convict prison. Yes! Finally, for her courage, sacrifice and unbreaking will, Sybil was awarded the George Medal for Bravery, the second highest honour given to civilians by the British government and Commonwealth, becoming the first and only Malaysian woman to receive this prestigious honour. Yes, we can certainly associate Sybil Kathigasu's George Medal as part of Malaysian history. While the award was made by the British government during the time Malaya was still a British colony, Sybil Kathigasu's contributions to the resistance movement and her bravery in aiding the resistance fighters are an important part of Malaysian history and its struggle for independence. During her recovery, Sybil wrote her memoirs, No Dram for Mercy, which detailed her life and experiences. Unfortunately, she never had the chance to complete it. Sybil succumbed to septicemia caused by the brutal injuries she received during her torture by the Kempete. Sybil's tale lives on in some books and media, like this one. She was even portrayed by her great niece actress Elaine Darley in the period drama Apa Dosaku. We highly recommend you watch it. Today, the shop house number 74 in Papan Village serves as a memorial to Sybil and her efforts. She is an important part of Malaysian history and is an exemplary example of the courage and sacrifices made by individuals at the time of great peril. This was a tale of Sybil Kathigasu. Thank you for watching.